Hello, and welcome to my reselling channel. I'm Star. Today's Tuesday, which means it's Tutorial Tuesday. Today, I'm going to show you how to quickly delist and relist your items on eBay using List Perfectly. Before we get into that, whether or not you should be delisting, relisting is a whole other topic. It used to be a very hot topic and very controversial, but I think it's kind of industry standard now that most people agree that you should be doing it. I 100% agree. I've espoused on this a lot in the past. I've talked about it. It's important. Your listings do become stale. That's how computers and algorithms work. It just is. When they become stale, they're not getting preferential treatment in the searches. The newer items and items with a lot of attention is what gets the push. Poshmark listings are stale after 60 days. Mercari listings are stale after only 30 days. And eBay is 6 to 9 months. So if you list on more than one platform and you do delist, relist as part of your regular routines and you do this every day, I always advise people to go off of what eBay tells you. If it's stale on eBay for 6 to 9 months, that's what you want to pay attention to. You can look at Posh and Mercari and do them more often if you have time for that in your schedule. And if you don't, it's more important, clearly, to be listing new items every day consistently on all the platforms. Your number one priority is new listings. Your number two priority should be delisting, relisting. So I go by eBay. If it's stale on eBay, I'm going to delist it and relist it. And if I'm already doing eBay, I'm going to do everybody else as well, with a couple of exceptions. Etsy charges 20 cents per listing, and they're good for 4 months before they renew. So I don't want to end a listing and restart it on Etsy sooner than it does on its own. I do have the auto renew on Etsy, and so every 4 months, anything that hasn't sold renews itself, and that's fine. But I don't want to do it earlier and then charge myself an extra 20 cents. So I update on Etsy. I delist, relist on eBay, Posh, Mercari, and I update listings on Etsy. Now, Depop and whatnot are kind of relatively new platforms for me listing on, so I'm not really too worried about listings being stale on there, but if I'm going to do anything, I'll just hit update. You can do the update and the delist, relist both with List Perfectly. If you want me to talk more about delisting and relisting and why it's important, I can do that in another video. Just let me know. Or I can just point you in the direction of one of the videos I've done in the past, and you can hear more about that. Today, I'm going to show you how to delist, relist on all platforms and use the update button with List Perfectly. But I want to mostly focus on eBay because of how List Perfectly has updated their system and the tools that you're using for eBay to make delisting, relisting on eBay even faster, even quicker, even more easier than ever before. So what it used to do was List Perfectly would automatically end the listing for you and then pull up a new one in a new tab, and you would list like it was a new listing. And that's great. It's pretty much all automated. It's pretty fast. But then they updated it so that List Perfectly is doing a sell similar. And why is this so important? Because when it ends the listing and pulls up a new listing, you still have to fill in all your item specifics and all of that information you had in the original listing. But now with the new update, List Perfectly ends that eBay listing and then sells similar to pull it up in a new tab. And because it's a sell similar, you have all those item specifics, all that information from your original listing already filled out for you. So you're just double checking and listing. It's super fast. You can fly through this. And then the other reason I like to use List Perfectly is so that I can sort my listings on eBay from oldest to newest to ensure that I'm delisting, relisting the oldest listings each morning. The ones that have been sitting there for the longest period of time. They're the most stale. They really need attention. They really need updated. And I can do them from eBay right to list perfectly. I'm going to show you what the heck I'm talking about in just a second. Make sure when you do this, your eBay listings are at least 6 months to 9 months old. You don't want to do it any sooner than that because it can mess up your algorithm and things like that. You want to make sure they're actually considered stale by the eBay algorithm standards. Now you're going to see that I have some that are like a year or more old because I have to share my screen with you because I have a lot of listings and it takes me time to get around. And so they do get really old and stale, and that's okay. At least I'm not doing it too soon. I try to do 20 a day. So what I do is I go into my active listings back here on the back end of eBay, and up here at the top, can you see me wiggling my mouse where it says start date? There's an up arrow. I click that like 2 or 3 times to get it to go in the order I want it to go. Okay, so now it's showing me the oldest listing was listed on January 7th, 2025. So it's 1 year, 3 months, and 29 days old. That's a very stale listing. And you can see that on each of your listings. So if you ever see one that's less than 6 months, you don't want to delist it, relist it. But if you have a bunch of old ones like I do, you know, you can always double check it there. How do you do this with List Perfectly? Well, when you use List Perfectly, all your listings on eBay are going to say copied because that means it's in your catalog on eBay on List Perfectly. So you just click that copied and it pulls up that listing directly in List Perfectly. Then you can click edit and fiddle fart around. Now, I highly recommend doing some kind of update or edit or fiddle fart around with every single listing. Before you delist it and relist it, you absolutely should change something so that it is technically a brand new listing and it's updated. There's always improvements to be made. Another thing that LP has come out with recently enough that my old listings don't have this utilized, under bulk actions where it says catalog only photos, you see these last 3 photos of my listing here, the ring size, the weight, and the location. I put those in every single listing. And prior to this really cool catalog only photo update, when I cross-posted this listing or delisted, relisted it, these photos would copy over with it on every platform, and then I would have to go through and delete them. Now with this tool, I just select those 3 items, confirm, and you can see the little red cross out here on the left corner, the bottom left corner, excluded from cross listing. When I cross post this listing or delist, relist it, those photos will not copy over. They stay in my List Perfectly catalog so I can see the size, the weight, the location, but I never have to delete them or waste clicks or time on them ever again. So that's the first thing I do on all my older listings. And then I will sometimes mess around with the title, like maybe I want retro, and maybe I want, you know, to switch some of the words around. Always do this. I'd highly recommend it. I don't know what I just did. I'm trying to talk and type and do all kinds of stuff at the same time. Silvertone. So I'll fix the title a little bit, mess around. Sometimes I'll switch one photo for another for the main photo. I double check the AI again. And for some reason, some of my jewelry I had not put weights in before. So I add that in. Here's another really cool tip. You see the bullet points there? Silver open band, faceted blue gemstone. That should say tone, silver tone. Do you know how to make those little dots? Because if you don't, I'm going to teach you. Press Alt, ALT on your keyboard and hold it down. Press it and hold it down and then type in 0149. And you want to be where you're typing 0149. Boom, I have a little dot, right? Isn't that cool? And then I can say this weighs 0.7 ounces. And I'll probably leave everything else as is. I'll double check the price. I'm going to lower the price on that because it's been sitting for a while. And then I'll save and close. Now, when I do this each morning, I actually go down and open like that, 10 of them. I work those 10 and update them. And then I go back in and grab another 10. Once I've done 20, I go back to reopen my List Perfectly page. And the last 20 that I edited will be right on top for me. So if I had actually done 20, they would be all here, right in a row. And then I select 10 at a time. We'll pretend there's 10 at a time here. I'm just going to do this ring to show you for the video. The 2 arrows here with the blue square under actions, click it. I'm going to select eBay, Delist Relist. So I would have 10 selected at this point. I would do eBay, then Posh, then Etsy, then Mercari. I kind of go through the list. I do all 10 on each platform. Then I go back and do the other 10 on each platform in order. I think it's easier to do 10 at a time than 20, especially if you don't have a very powerful computer or whatever. And I also think it's easiest to go one platform at a time because of muscle memory and clicking and how your brain works. If you have 10 items and you're doing one item, eBay, Posh, Mercari, Etsy, I think that's not as quick as just doing all eBay and then all Poshmark. It's just the way your brain works, I think. But that's me. So hit Delist Relist. Now, List Perfectly is going to end my listing. And then it's going to sell similar. And you can see in the address bar, sell similar item. Do you see that? It's creating a sell similar for me. It's going to load everything in. And here's why this is so important. Everything is loaded in. My title, my SKU, my store category, the item. All the information I had ever put in before is still here. All 4 of the themes that I had chosen. This is all here. Everything. So then you would just go down and say list it. And you do that 10 times or 20 times, however many you want to work on a day. Now, just real quick, I'm going to show you Poshmark and Mercari and Etsy. Now, yes, I'm doing all 3 at once. I just told you not to do that. But this is just for the purposes of the video. If I had 10 items selected, I would do all 10 Poshmark, Mercari, and Etsy separately. And I don't want to do Etsy because I don't Delist Relist there. So I'll just show you Poshmark and Mercari real quick. Mercari, I'm sorry, this is Poshmark. It's going to create a copy of the listing for you. It likes to tell me I have captcha errors. I don't use, you guys have probably seen those pop up before in my videos. I use a completely different computer to sync to my Poshmark to share it for me through List Perfectly. Did you know List Perfectly can do that? So this computer is constantly trying to sync to Poshmark to try to share it, and then it tells me it has errors because I don't have sharing turned on. It is a different computer. I digress. You're just going to double check everything on Poshmark, make sure everything is still good. This will keep all of your former information, just like eBay's did. You're just going to double check it and hit next. List. I recommend replace original. When Poshmark first changed their delisting, relisting form to have this option of publish copy or replace original, I was told to choose publish copy. And then one day I discovered I had a bunch of double listings in my Poshmark. And I have almost 6,000 active listings. It took me 12 hours to go through my entire closet and get rid of all the doubles and fix it. I never want to have to go through that again. So now I just say replace original. It'll get rid of the original and make a whole new listing. That's what I recommend, because if you say publish copy, you can end up with a bunch of copies. I do like that Poshmark will tell you how old this is. So it's over the 60-day mark that they consider it stale. So that's good. Replace original, and you have a new listing. Mercari, it's going to keep all of your old information. So you're just going to kind of scroll down. The only thing that'll change is the price. It goes back to the price from your catalog. So if you price differently on Mercari, you'll want to double check that and change it. The same with Poshmark. Just double check everything. Don't blindly believe in the AI. You always got to double check. Etsy, I update. I hope this is something that's on Etsy. Is it on Etsy? It is not. All right. Well, for the purpose of this video, you would select Etsy. You would select confirm update. It would pull up a tab, and you're just double checking and then hitting update, and it'll update it in your Etsy catalog. And then it won't be stale anymore, but you didn't pay the 20 cents to Delist Relist. And you can use this update function for lots of different things. Like right now I'm doing an audit on my plush, and I'm consolidating it. I have like a lot of half-empty bags and half-empty bins of plush. So I'm moving them. And so I have to change the SKU from like bag 1 to bag 4. So if I do 20 plush and I change their SKU, I can select all 20, come in here and select eBay and say, I only want to change the SKU, confirm update. It pulls up all those listings for me, and it changes that SKU to bin 4, but no other information gets changed. Or you can just do title, price, description, or you can do everything. I love the update button. I think the update button is just as important as the delist relist. You should be doing both updating and delisting, relisting, just to keep your stuff from becoming stale on these various platforms. If you're not using List Perfectly yet, I don't know what you're waiting for. You can try your first month for 30% off with my code flippinhippos. There's no contractual obligation. You try it, you don't like it, you can leave. You try it and you want to go down a subscription, you can do that. There's no contracts, no obligations, but you can try it at 30% off. I would suggest just trying it for a month. Using it to do the cross listing, sharing your Poshmark closet, sending your offers on Poshmark for you, delisting, relisting. It has an auto delister. There's a lot it can do that you can play around with and try for your first month. Not to mention the listing parties, which is 24 hours a day, educational Zoom calls with your peers, learning about reselling. I call it Reseller University. There's classes in there on everything, and they're peer-led and peer-ran. So it's people who actually like live the life and know what we're doing that are teaching us. It's pretty great. Try it for 30% off, code flippinhippos. Don't forget to be delisting, relisting, and updating listings. Don't do it too often. Stick to the stale listings criteria I gave you. Posh, 60 days, Mercari, 30, Etsy, 6 to 9 months. That's eBay, not Etsy. Let me repeat that. Posh, 60 days, Mercari, 30, eBay, 6 to 9 months. And with Etsy, I don't really think it matters if it's stale or not if you're just updating listings. So you can update them as much as you need to. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, let me know down below. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, help me feed some hungry hippos, and I will see you in the next one.